You ready, Fox Hat?
Yep. Got some wonderful emails to start before I...
How'd our Globe discussion go over with the GLers? Are they disappointed in us?
I didn't see much reaction, to be honest, unless Joe did.
I have a beautiful reaction. I'm going to share it with you.
About the Globe.
Fratelloni's.
Rolling, bro.
Fratelloni's Hardware and Garden Store. Nope. Stop. Don't print that.
Okay. Don't be saving that stuff,
They never
Larry.
gave me ads.
Oh, yeah. Good point. Let's see. Google Sheet, GL Podcast. Oh, that's what I was going to send you and I forgot. Shoot. Joe?
Oh, yeah. What am I doing today, Chris?
Frat Aqua Eco. Ken?
I got Scooney.
Scoons, Pro Turf, and that GSTA.
Hot Rod.
Yes, sir.
Got it. Thank you.
Rook, I don't think I need one from you today. I do not.
Okie dokie.
Joe?
What? Just a minute.
Okay.
This is Aqua.
Aqua side pellets.
California raised their minimum wage to $20.
I'm aware of that, Chris.
The places have already started closing. There was a great
Well,
one.
here's what's going to happen. Robots will take over.
The kiosk?
Robots will make your burger.
AI.
No, thank you.
Robots, like I say, bombs, don't you?
Right.
Well, because everybody's
Robots.
bitching at me when I say
Robot.
robot.
Robots.
Don't know what he got.
Rolling.
Fratelloni's Hardware and Garden Stores brings you Garage Logic podcast number 1280, April 4th, 2024. Third day in a row. 81 degrees on this day in 1921. It was 5 degrees in 1995. And I want to remind you that our friends Aquaside are back for the summer swimming season. And if you have a little difficulty at the old swimming hole with weeds or algae or decaying dock planks or whatever the hell you want to get out of there, Aquaside has the products that'll have your water looking clear and clean, and the kids won't be afraid to go in there. It'll be gin colored. And when you look at the sand, it'll be rippled.
Yeah, gin
And
colored.
free of weeds and algae. The products are easy to use. They work quickly. And they're registered with the EPA and DNR, so they're completely safe. Call Aquaside today. They'll help you identify your weed problem and make sure your place looks great all summer long. Call Aquaside at 1-800-328-9350 or go to aquaside.com, and they bring us today's ice outs. Minnetonka went out on this day in 1860, 1942, 1966, 1973, 1990. White Bear Lake went out on this day in 1929, 1973, and also in 1990. Aren't these lovely reminders of the rhythm of life and nature? That's why I do ice outs.
That's what you do.
I feel I owe it to you to remind you that life is a beautiful circle of endless ice
Holy
outs,
Toledo.
things of that
Hail the
nature.
flashlight, King.
Yeah, goodbye.
And now, from the mayor's office above the boathouse on the east shore of Spoon Lake, it's Garage Logic with Chris Reavers manning Technology Corner, Kenny Olson from the Krabby Coffee Shop, John Heidt in the newsroom, and of course, the Rookie. Here is your flashlight king, fireworks commissioner, and the keeper of common sense, your mayor, Joe Souchere.
Yesterday, we unfortunately fell into a bit of globe talk. We're trying to figure out where we would face.
What do you mean, unfortunately?
Well, it got us off the rails, but we were trying to determine which direction we'd face standing here if we wanted to go to Australia. And I get a note that says, "Hail the Flashlight King."
Hail you.
Joe, if I want to listen to Garage Logic, first I stand in the kitchen and face northeast. Then I reach into the cabinet in front of me and retrieve a bottle of bourbon so I can tolerate you knuckleheads. Love the show, Jesse. All right, thank you, Jesse.
Okay.
Very nice.
Noted.
And we talked to Mark Anderson up in Staples yesterday about the Moose story.
Yep.
And then we were imagining what that newspaper office must be like, because he has a real place to go. They have a building. And I got a great note from Tim Werner, who writes, I enjoyed very much your interview with Mark Anderson from the Staples World Press. It highlighted that sound reporting is actually still being done, albeit maybe not close to the country's tallest buildings. Your musings with Rookie about what a charming small-town newspaper office may be like brought back memories of a book that I know you enjoy as much as I do, A River Runs Through It. Oh, I loved it so much.
Yeah.
In the book, Paul McLean works as a reporter for the Helena newspaper in the 1930s. Among my favorite quotes in this area, Paul was too young to swing an axe or pull a saw all day, and besides, he had decided this early he had two major purposes in life: to fish and not to work, or at least to not allow work to interfere with fishing. When it came to choosing a profession, he became a reporter on a Montana paper. Early then, he had come close to realizing life's purpose, which did not conflict in his mind from those given in answer to the first question in the Westminster Catechism. What is the chief and highest end of man? Paul was a reporter in Helena, the state capital. I had gone off and got married, to use my brother's description of this event in my life. My brother and his editor wrote most of the Helena paper. The editor was one of the last small-town editors in the classic school of personal invective. He started drinking early in the morning so he wouldn't feel sorry for anyone during the day.
Jeez.
And he and my brother admired each other greatly. The rest of the town feared them, especially because they wrote well, and in a hostile world, both of them needed to be loved by their families, and were. Isn't that lovely?
Yeah, it's nice.
That's what those small
Very nice.
May I share a quick story with your? I had a phone conversation with your Monday Night Sports Talk co-host,
Yes.
in which it was brought to his attention that Joe had asked, "Do you guys got a building at the Staples World Press?"
Yeah.
And he goes,
You got a little chuckle out of that? Poor guy.
We're having the
Turns out he jumped ship at the exact right time, didn't he?
we're having the 175th anniversary of the Pioneer Press.
"Congratulations!
Wow, I bet
What
that's
a
gonna be a
run! This is a
celebration.
big deal."
They booked 2 hours at a brewery.
Hey, now.
Boom, you go down.
Bring your own food.
I don't know.
Potluck.
As long as it wasn't the Hams Brewery that closed a long
A
time.
ray of hope in Vermont. Joe, you'll probably be surprised to hear that you have a listener in Vermont, also known as Al from Tampa. I have owned a vacation property in Vermont for 20 years, and what I like the most about it is there's hardly any people, unlike the liberal bastion of Minnesota. Vermont is lucky enough to have a Republican governor who I'm sure will not sign any bill proposed regarding fossil fuel consumption taxes. It's one way to keep Bernie and his communist brothers in check. Fighting back from Vermont and Tampa, Al, and he included a picture of the annual balloon festival in Quechee, Vermont.
That would be
It
fun.
was beautiful, beautiful.
Oh, look at that.
Yeah.
This thing's going way up high.
I had some cool correspondence with Al from Tampa once, and I like the way it ended. He told me how much he enjoyed something I'd said on the air. It was about music, and then he ended the email with, and I've always saved this, might be the only thing I agree on with John, though, and a smiley
Yeah.
face. So
Yeah. Well, at
But
least he
that's
was-
the
Gotcha.
beauty of GL.
Yeah.
it is, yeah.
Because you don't agree with somebody doesn't mean you can't like them.
And yesterday we were talking about the fossil fuels, as Al just mentioned. And Tim Buck2 writes, I think he's appointed himself as a kind of a fact checker for GL. He comes up with some very interesting tidbits. When fossil fuels were discovered in the 19th century, that was bad news for Captain Ahab, but good news for Moby Dick. Fossil fuels quickly replaced the two most common uses of whale oil, heating and lighting. But one industry continued to use whale oil until the 1970s. Anybody care to guess which industry that was?
The adult entertainment industry.
No.
That was my guess.
Whale oil was used in automotive transmission fluids until 1972.
Come on.
Wow.
Honest to God, isn't that neat? It was favored by engineers because it was particularly effective at preventing rust. By 1971, 55 million pounds of whale oil were being used annually as automotive lubricants. And because of its very low freezing point, whale oil was also widely used in the aerospace industry. In 1972, its use was banned by the Endangered Species Act. Auto manufacturers were forced to quickly develop new oils for their transmissions. The new oils, however, were much less effective at preventing rust. Transmissions began failing at unheard of rates. Before 1972, less than 1 million transmissions failed each year. Without whale oil, transmission failures exploded to more than 8 million by 1975. It took several years of research, but scientists eventually developed the modern synthetic oils that we use in transmissions today. It would be fair to say that for many decades, whale oil was a wonderful product in a world of bad lubricants.
Huh.
You do realize I was trying to tell you that yesterday and you shut me down.
Yeah.
You do
You were
realize
talking
that,
about whale oil heating and lighting.
And I was trying to continue, and you, like usual, can't stand it when you don't hear the sound of your own voice, so you shut me down.
Did you know that it was used in automotive?
I was trying to tell you that.
You didn't know that.
Come on, Joe. You do this all the time to
All
us.
the time, Joe.
You do it all the time.
All
We
the
try
time.
to tell you something.
Right,
You
right.
shut us down because we're idiots. And then a GLer will write to you and tell you the same thing. And you'll go, see, now, if you guys would make the effort that this guy makes, every day that happens.
You know, whatever they came up with for transmission and differentials and rear axles, that stuff really has a pungent smell. Oil has virtually no smell. The oil you put in your crankcase.
Okay.
But the stuff you put in your gears, that stuff really smells. I don't like it.
Derek calls it, when he's checking his transmission, the blood stick.
Yeah.
And if the tranny's leaking, he says there's blood all over under the vehicle.
Kenny, I believe earlier in your response to Joe initially, I believe you and Rookie were thinking of milfoil.
Yes.
When am I not?
2 words.
The play story in today's Star Tribune with 2 large color photographs is, the headline is New Direction for I-94. And a subhead would be, as MnDOT considers options to update I-94 between St. Paul and Minneapolis, an advocacy group suggests a boulevard. And one picture is a rendering of what I-94 corridor would look like between St. Paul and Minneapolis.
It's so absurd. I can't even keep a straight face.
It's leafy and charming.
Well, that's
and,
nice.
and
Can I
then-
walk down the middle of it?
And then the picture,
Yes.
of course, is the evil concrete and asphalt of the freeway with actual cars on it. Cars, by the way, the vehicle load on I-94 between St. Paul and Minneapolis every day ranges between 114,000 and 167,000 vehicles per day.
Yeah.
Per day. We looked up that while the town council was listening to us.
I didn't. There was too much commotion. I decided to stay out of the argument.
4,650 to 6,500 heavy commercial trucks per day. And then throw in the ambulance and the fire trucks and all the emergency vehicles. That's a lot, Joe.
The advocacy group that is imagining this leafy boulevard, I don't even know if they would allow cars on it. In the rendering, there are some vehicles pictured, but so few you would think it was just a beautiful, lazy summer afternoon. And apparently a nuclear threat was issued for the Twin Cities because there's nobody out there on that leafy boulevard. The advocacy group has come up on this show before. They're called Our Streets Minneapolis.
Yep.
Unelected people. They're a 503c outfit. John, what have you discovered about their funding?
As far as their funding goes, the latest numbers come from 2022. They receive grants for the most part, that and donations. For instance, The McKnight Foundation in 2022 gave them a grant of $150,000.
Good Lord.
Move Minnesota gave them 75 grand, and another grant from the McKnight Foundation for 150. So that's up to 200,000 already. And I also noticed just 2 weeks ago, they received a grant from the federal government of $1.6 million.
Wow.
That's part of the project to bring back 6th in North Minneapolis. That was a grant from
what do you mean bring back 6th?
When Olson Memorial Highway, it was 6th Avenue North, a diverse Black and Jewish cultural corridor with racial covenants. In 1939, the construction of the highway destroyed every home and business. In May of last year, the city council passed a resolution to remove the North Side Highway. And so it's
which is
to lead to that.
An unbelievable development.
They also have events, Joe, where they raise money. Over 100,000 attendees at annual events last year. They raise money from that and donations at that. And they also sell items, hoodies, stocking caps, T-shirts, bags, that sort of thing.
Why don't these big outfits give money to Play for Patrick or Second Store? $1.1 million from the government for that?
Okay, they didn't get the money from the government. They got the money from you. The government doesn't have any money.
Okay. Yeah, I got to remember that.
The federal government gave them your money. Their mission statement reads, and remember, they've come up on this show before.
Weren't they the shovel group? The no shovel group?
I think they are a no shovel group and a no car group. And their mission statement reads, Our Streets Minneapolis works to put people first by transforming transportation and infrastructure in the Twin Cities and at the state level. We do this by making our streets places where people can easily and comfortably walk, bike, roll, and use public transit. I don't think it's hyperbole to say they're opposed to the automobile. We envision streets and neighborhoods that are vibrant places for people to live, work, and play. We envision communities with people-first transportation infrastructure that is not centered around cars. We envision cities with streets designed to prioritize public health and climate, racial and economic justice for all our neighbors. And then it goes on to say that they create visions and things of that nature. Okay. It's shocking to me that they're getting this much attention on the front page of the newspaper. In a rational world, this is no different than a group of kindergartners asking the city council for a new swing set at the park. They're unelected.
Yeah.
They're young. None of them have contributed to the commerce of America. We've gone through their staff before. Do you recall that?
Yeah. Yep, I sure do. Yep.
The executive director is Jose Antonio Zayas Caban. And he has worked on developing restorative justice campaigns. Well, okay, there's no way to measure if he's had success in doing that. He's also a board member of Streets.mn. I believe he might be from Puerto Rico. Jose is a resident at the U of M Liberal Arts Engagement Hub.
Huh?
I'm sorry.
Where he will be working on an essay for the upcoming book, Human Tolls, Public Histories and Community Responses to Twin Cities Freeways, in collaboration with Associate Professor Greg Donofrio and Dr. Ernest Lloyd from the Heritage Studies and Public History program. He's a performing artist.
Yeah.
He has been awarded a McKnight Artist Fellowship for his work on producing albums with music focused on present-day social issues and the relationship between Puerto Rico and the United States empire. It's called an empire.
Oh,
Mm-hmm. Okay, God love you, Jose. You might be very good at whatever you do. I think whatever you do is fairly undefined. The community development and events senior manager is Ember Rasmussen with pronouns they, them. All right. She's passionate. about co-creating welcoming spaces with community members that expand imaginations and create meaningful dialogue while integrating art, storytelling, and fun. Come on, lady. That's BS. That means nothing. I'm not trying to be, well, sure I am. I'm trying to be a complete jerk. They have previous they have previous experiences in nonprofit development and community events, restaurant management, and theater direction. They have organized 3 seasons of Open Streets Minneapolis events. I think that's where they close a street on a Sunday and you can only walk on it.
When you say they close, you mean that one gal named they? Or do you mean they as in a group of?
No, that one gal,
days.
the one gal who's a they, she's been part of organizing 3 seasons of Open Streets.
Okay.
And then
So-
she lead Our Streets Imagine programming, which includes the mobile museum projects created in collaboration with the University of Minnesota's HSPH program. When not at work, you can find them.
Yeah, I'm getting confused now. It's like first base.
You can find them biking, gardening, gaming, playing music, and spending time with their chosen family and their dog, Juniper. Okay, that's 2 so far. I got to take a break, according to Reavers. But Jose Antonio Zayas Caban and Ember Rasmussen, I'm sure they are passionate, and I'm sure they are very serious about eliminating cars, but their worldview is so narrow that they're not taking into account just the necessary flow of humanity required to produce the kind of money that ends up paying them. If there were no tax money, Jose Caban and Ember, you wouldn't
exist.
You wouldn't have this. You'd have to actually find some place to work. Can I take a break, please?
I hope
Let's go.
you're going to come back and talk more about